Hello everyone and welcome to the world of Rover as usual, and I am back working on David's Rover Coupe CVT and carrying out a job that David, well, the way David actually found me on YouTube was one of the latest videos that I've been doing, and that was replacing the inherent coolant rail, the rusty coolant rail on Project Beatrix, the 45, and he wants me to do it on his car. Absolutely, no problem. So he's managed to source a completely brand new pipe, nicely painted up, probably better than the paint I've used actually, really good finish actually. And this is suitable for a K-Series 1.6 on this application. We did check the registration, so it all fits. We've got a couple of other bits. We've got some, I did say in the last episode, the only thing I had a feeling on when I drove this car was it was bogging down a little bit. So we're going to do a whole sort of HT lead spark plug, so HT lead spark plugs. We've got an O-ring seal for the thermostat housing, and we've got a new thermostat correct for the car. So things are coming off as usual, and as usual we're going to try and take that coolant pipe off. Now all I will say, guys, is I'm not going to do any filming when it's related to the coolant pipe unless I see something different. I can't see any differences. We've got a clip here, I've got to take this pipe off. In fact, if you look at this is identical to Beatrix's, so it sits like this in the car. So we've got that connection there as fuss. We've got the bleed screw, we've got the little bracket for the wiring that goes on this bit. We've got another sort of fir tree clip mounting for the wiring loom that goes on these two, so I've got to cut the wiring loom off these two. We've got the feed coming from the coolant bottle, I was going to say over there, because my 45 bottle's over there, so the feed comes from here down in the bottle, and that's really it. It's exactly the same. We've got two mounting brackets for I think 13mm bolts. I've got to remember the size. I'll remember when I get under the car. So yeah, it's all well and good. Now the only difference is I'm going to be trying to get the thermostat housing off, which is going to be an interesting debacle, so I think I will cut to that point. But to start this episode, I think we'll start, well, first of all I've got to drain the system, so I'm going to take that bottom pipe out and just let it drain into the bucket, and the feed hose going into the rail, and then while that's all draining, HT leads spark plugs, simple as. Right, I can't be bothered to take the bottom radiator hose out, so just put that bucket underneath and make sure the cap is off or loose. I'll just take the cap off, makes no difference. And this is going to go in a lot of places at the moment. Excuse me. Side gearbox. Just going to aim it down there. Bottom radiator hose.
Should be quite good coolant really, because as I say, the head gasket was done about a year and a half ago.
Yeah, it looks really good. And I've just lost your hose clip right down there. As always. There we go. Aim it all the way down. I want that radiator completely empty. Oh yes, you can hear that.
Glug in.
Glug, glug, glug. Right, what I'm going to do is take the hose off the header tank as opposed to taking it off the rail. The access down there straight away is much poorer than on my 45. Okay. So I think I have to say that this might have to come off. I didn't want to have to do that.
No, but you did warn about that.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's just the way it is sometimes. So I'll just pull this down. This might go. Now, what I'm doing now is I'm removing the hose clamp for the heater bypass, which goes all the way around to there. So it goes all the way around, and it will just give me a little bit better access around here. It's all about working my way around the edges to assess how much access I've got once I've got a few of these off. Hopefully the thermostat housing will have to be disturbed anyway, so hoping I can just pull that. There we go. Done. take that off. Just pull this. This is just to get more out the system. There we go. Be surprised. Now, what I'll do is I'm going to take that hose clip off just to save that, and move this well and truly out the way over there. Okay, perfect. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to disconnect the throttle position sensor. So it's all a question of making sure everything's out the way. Now we've got this stupid clip here. I really don't like these, so I'm going to break the taper on this fir tree clip. Now we've got a bit of wiring down here, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull this fan switch. Come on, it's a bit stiff, this is. There we go, that's one. Try not to break any of the plugs. And then we've got the gauge switch. There we go. Okay, lovely. Now we have got also a Luca connector on the starter. Now I'm just going to wiggle that very gently. There we go. Just an old-fashioned Luca connector. And we've got some wiring which is a bit different to go on the fan. Now I'm trying to work out how that actually releases. I think you pull the tab up. For some reason that fan switch, I do not want to mess with that plug, so the wiring won't come off completely. There we go, I've broken the clip. Unfortunately this clip is always one to get broken, so it's still slot in but it won't clip in completely. So unfortunately you do have to do a few things like that. That's going to come out because I know where that goes. All very familiar but somewhat very different at the same time. This has got to come out. There's a clip here. It was starting to break anyway, so again I know where that goes. And then just trying to take this up really gently is the key, because there we go. Oh, that's gone off. That's come off really nicely. Fantastic. Okay, you can see how that goes back in. So that is all kind of tucked out the way now. Now we've got less to faff about with. Right, so what I'm doing is I'm trying to get that bottom bolt, as you can see, for the rail. So the bolt I'm just trying to get out, guys, so you can see, is that one. Okay, so it's the first one of two. So I'm just, the bolt was actually quite loose, which is quite interesting. So I'm just going to keep taking it out until it becomes a bit more free. There we go. Yeah, 10mm, not 13s, correct me. Now I've got to go and access the other one, which is that one. Okay. We'll try and access it from the top.
At the time, why not?
No, not at all. Right, so down here, guys, you have to take the crankshaft position sensor out. Just down here, there's another plug for the speed sensor, but yeah, that's out, so it's all wiggledy-piggledy. And you can see that the loom is free. That's because I've bust the clips. If you could see when this is, yeah, I've bust that clip. And then the wire loom is completely free, and I'm just about to take out this second bolt, if it wants to come out, that is. This might be the tricky bit. Nope, it still doesn't want to come out. This is the only thing with this, doing this. I really recommend on this sort of job, if you're doing it for the first time, I think it'd be easier to take the inlet manifold off. Finger hurting.
Do you want some pickles up?
I could do with that, to be honest. Now, there is no particular technique for doing this other than you have to pull the rail off the O-ring seal on the thermostat housing. Not particular. It will be quite tough, but you just need to give it a good sharp pull. You just have to keep twisting this thing off. Come on. Oh, it's gone. It's gone. There we go. That's gone. does take a big twist to get it off that seal, and just one way of trying to hook it out very gently now. We'll bring it this way. Try not to, if it's catching, just stop. Now the only thing is that hose is restricting the whole thing. There is also another hose that's going that way. Actually, there's a lambda sensor wire that isn't on my 45 that is actually restricting that movement. Oh yes, I see what the problem is. If I just bring that hose round the corner very gently. I'm getting there. So this is the hose we couldn't take off earlier. Now I've got to bring that round. The reason I couldn't take this off in the first place is because the hose clip is actually facing the wrong direction. So what I gotta do is bring that round. There we go. Done. You see, as it's sitting in the car, that hose clip is facing that direction. There's no way I could have got that, but this is one heck of a rusty rail. It's very clean on the inside, but
the outside it's not so good.
No, it isn't.
Maybe
No.
I could clean that up and de-rust it.
I've got a feeling that this is possibly salvageable from what from others that I've seen. That's definitely salvageable. Anyway, you can see that I've bust that clip. I managed to get that clip off intact.
Yeah.
So that's why the clips will replace with a cable tie. That's the usual. So you could definitely refurb this. I think it's not it's not the worst in the world.
Certainly the one I brought's better.
I'd say
do some refurbishment.
Absolutely, I'd say so.
But it looks clean on the inside, so it's obviously done its job inside.
Absolutely. Well, that's a good sign that the antifreeze levels have been topped up.
Yeah.
See, the one on my 45 was actually quite rusty.
Yeah.
So I think someone had been playing around with water and not distilled water. Distilled water it's supposed to be, deionised. But if you put normal tap water in, you get a lot of furriness.
So I might, as I say, renovate that and keep it as a spare.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. I'll try and get this hose off and put it back on the header tank. But
You're doing well, man.
we're in a position now. Yeah, well, we'll leave it to dry off a little bit, and we'll go to.
Did you want me to wash the coolant expansion thing?
We can have a look at that actually, about flushing that out and giving it a bit of a
it's
swill.
not going to be perfect, but
No, not at all.
it's just annoying, really.
Absolutely. I think the next thing, HT leads, spark plugs.
Yeah.
Right, next thing, spark plugs. We've got some Bosch spark plugs, and we've got some new old stock CI Ignition. A CI Ignition, I think, is quite a good brand, and this is a really old box, and anything new old stock I find is much better than the products of yesterday. So just going to take off the cover with these two screws. A little bit different to what I'm used to. I do love this with Rover written on it. Quality. So my advice with the coolant rail so far is on a Rover R8. It's actually, even though you don't have a subframe to contend with, the access on the 45 is much better from going underneath, especially ramps. I wouldn't say it's impossible in this, because I think it was a bit of a problem actually getting it lifted high enough on the axles. Even with my thin body, I can't really, I can't do it at that angle. So I think perseverance and being very careful with the electrics. Move the electrics out the way. Don't be afraid to bust some clips. Just cable ties will sort that situation out. It's as simple as that. Now we just pop these out. Now I'm going to keep these in order because, quite frankly, these are actually Lucas ones. Actually, God, these are stuck on. Oh, that is really stiff. Try not to pull via the boot. However, these are really stuck. Now, do not do this, but because we're replacing these, I don't care. I've got these, Oh, these rubbish, these are nice, these squidgy spacers. So just pop all these out and take that out. Just pop them there. And oh God, these are really tight. It comes to something when you're having to do this. There we go. Use a pry tool. Now, keep the HT leads in order. I'll sort them in a second. And cap looks in good condition, so we don't need to worry about that. Right, okay. So it looks quite good in those wells. They look very, very dry indeed. So I'm just going to get my spark plug spanner and whip them out. Well, at least the plugs are not stiff. Right, well, these are NGKs and they're all in really good condition. They're all equally worn actually. So anyway, we'll put the new ones in. The new ones, yeah, just checking. So these are Bosch plugs. Okay, so I'll just stick this at the end. The only thing I am going to do before I put it in my spark plug spanner is just going to see, my work desk is getting busy, is a bit of copperies. Just a little bit on the threads, not too much, just on one side, just smear it all the way around, there we go. And just wind it back in. Actually, don't have it on the ratchet, just by hand, please. There we go. Nipped, there we go, done. First one. Right, others. Nipped up, lovely, fantastic. Okay, there for the bin. Now, HC leads. Right, sidestep. We've had to put the old leads back on because unfortunately the new leads just don't fit whatsoever. The lengths are all wrong. I couldn't work out what was what. There's no numbers on them, so you go on length, but the lengths were so inconsistent, so I've had to put all this back in and we'll reconvene. But we've got spark plugs in, and I have recommended one thing, that pipe across comes off. We're getting into the warmer season now, you know. A standard air filter in that box, we've got all the bits and pieces, will be much beneficial from that cone air filter sucking in hot engine bay gases. But these HC leads, yeah, I had no idea where they go. If you don't have the air bleeder at 12 o'clock, any air bubbles within the heater matrix area stays trapped in the heater matrix area. This allows air bubbles to go through into the main system and eventually out through the header tank. That's a common mistake, but I've just siliconed the rubber because this is going to be quite a tight fit into the housing, judging by how tough it was to get out. So if I'm just going to leave you guys to rest there while I wrestle to get this in position. It's going to be a tough fit, this. Well, you have to massage this carefully into place and then put the thermostat housing over. So that's going to be a job. Just slip the housing over, 1, 2, 3 bolts and done. Okay, right, what we've been doing just in the last 15 minutes, obviously the thermostat housing is completely bolted back in, including the very hard to get bolt. You've got to make sure that's tight. Not overly tight, probably 7 Newton meters, just nipped up, and that's it. That's all nice and done up. Now we're going to put the rail in. David's just been spraying some bitumen underseal just around here, just to take advantage, and he's done a great job in vacuuming and cleaning everything up. We cleaned the starter motor cable, and the gearbox is looking really nice and clean, especially really nice and clean over here. I think some of the previous slight oil leaks that we've had in the past have actually helped preserve the car, preserve the gearbox casing as such. But anyway, there's no real rule for doing this. We have fitted the header tank pipe. I'm going to leave that out the way, and there's no way of doing it other than trying to wiggle this in place. You're going to have to be very patient, and if you fight against something, you need to go back and work out what you're hitting, so it just takes a bit of time. So we're in kind of a position here, just take that away. Right, now we're in the position where we can just about line everything in, so you can see where everything's supposed to go. David's very just aiming those nozzles down. That's a very good preventative maintenance tip. Anyway, the reason we put red rubber grease is to slide it on. There we go. Look how easy that was. Absolutely fine. It went over so easy it's untrue. So if people are struggling with that, you need to put silicone or red rubber grease, and that has now gone straight back in, and we're in exactly the right position. You can see where the leg is sitting, and we can just bolt everything back in. Just make sure all your wiring is on the right hand side. So we can just clip a few things back in, and just beware of where everything is routed. We have moved quite a few things around, so it's a case of just jigging everything about and just rechecking. All right, so I'll leave that, and then once I've bolted everything back in, literally 2 bolts, couple of cable ties to tie the wiring loom to the rail, put the feeder hose back in, and we're done. Lovely. Right, I'll have that pointed in the upwards direction to actually do this properly. Here we go. Let's put that back up. There we go. Okay, so that's done. I'll just pop that back in. There we go. Lovely. Lovely jubbly. There's a clip missing there, but I won't worry too much about that at the moment. That is supposed to secure. Come on, just stay with me, boy. Stay with me. There we go. That goes there. That goes onto that. In fact, if I just move that there, that's all good. So you just got to route everything up again. So there we go. It's all quite satisfying when it all clicks back into place. Just make sure you have got all your plugs in the right place. Just got to be careful with this one, because this gauge wire just tend to love playing up, because it's only a single wire. That's all back into place, so we can actually route that. I need to put the hose clip. Okay, just fit that back over there. Lovely. Right, just tighten that up at some point. I should have done it on the other side, really. I'll probably have to reverse that now I've done that. But just tuck that in. There's a couple more clips. I mean, this one here was the one that goes on here, so it just slips onto this hole there, and then that clips in. See, it all starts coming together like a jigsaw piece. That is your throttle position sensor. Now that should have gone this way. So this is where you've got to have a bit of a play around, because now I've got no space for that. There we go. I think it might need to go underneath here as well, actually. Right, I've put it on this other side. I've sort of tuck it round and put it on this side, and that's all clipped in. Okay, so injection loom clipped in. Yeah, just go over this and make sure all the wires are, you know, are happy where they are, because otherwise, if they're not, see, that should be down there. Good, and then put that on there. Done. So swap that around. Just keep going. Just make sure that you are happy with how this is all routed. Right, airbox back in. Battery back in, all plumbed in. I've just gone over and double checked every electrical connection, because no doubt when I turn that key and we get a no start situation, it'll be like, what have I not connected? This is the most important part of this episode, and basically this is how you fill a K series. So, filler in here, coolant at the ready. We have to be very, very careful and very steady, and first of all, obviously, we've got to pierce the coolant. There we go, nicely christened as usual. Now, this has been one heck of a tough job, this is. Now, this could all be spoilt if we don't do this correctly. Now, the main thing is to take the bleed screw out again. So get your 8mm. Those of you who remember my 45 video, I didn't really go into detail about how you actually fill the system on a K series without getting air in the system. That's a real, you know, the K series is a bit of a BASTARD when it comes to getting air in the system. I should know that more than anybody else. Bleed screw completely removed. Now, I'm going to get some blue towel around this area, because what's going to happen is coolant, we want coolant to come out that rail. We are going to fill that header tank very, very slowly, okay, very slowly. It is advisable to have the heater on the hot setting, so I'm just going to check that in the car. No, it wasn't, it was halfway between. You don't want that, you got to check it on hot. Just move the dial to hot, simple as that. Now, just put that bleed screw aside. I am now going to start filling very, very slowly, and we'll see where we go. This is where other YouTubers put some sort of lovely music on or something like that, but I don't do that on this. We'll cut to a few minutes later. Oh, yeah, it's come out. Yeah, that's fantastic. Right, where's the bleed screw gone? Yeah, quick. And that's when you stop, guys. We're now in. You tighten the bleed screw and you keep on filling very slowly, squeezing all the hoses. That's the way to do it. Right, 15 minutes later, and yeah, we've managed to fill using most of that bottle, which is almost 5 litres, because that pretty much should be most of the capacity. And I'll tell you what, you need to have a chat with somebody. You need to have somebody standing here, because it's going to take 15 minutes to give it time to settle down, get that air out slowly. Do not rush this process, because what you've done is purely rubbish. Now I'll just squeeze that hose. Fantastic, lovely. Keep squeezing the hoses and it will find its level. It's even gone down a little bit more since I've been talking. And the entire system, it looks like the entire system's been filled. So the level of in the radiator will rise, it will go through this hose, go through the block, go back through the block, through the thermostat housing, into the heater matrix, and then back through the other way. And obviously the thermostat is kind of restricting the coolant at the moment to a certain section, but that's what's happened. The heater matrix is being completely filled up. Now the moment of truth, really. Screw this on. Yeah, that's good. Right, let's start her up. Here we go. Yeah, immobiliser's gone off. What have I missed? What's not connected? Honestly, there's always something. That might have something to do with it. Yeah. I said I didn't check it completely, did I? Oh, it's always one thing. Right. Start again. Right, just had to reconnect this MAF sensor. It goes underneath this. I'm a bit OCD about these things. Anyway, let's get on with this. Here we go, shut up. There we go. Lovely. Good job. Right. Fantastic. I think we can leave this to warm up for a bit and well, tidy up. Oh, it's toasty hot in here. I've got the heat on number 1 and it's hot. The temperature gauge is just sitting a little bit too much below the middle, so I think we might need to just get this car out on the road to properly open that thermostat. I think the thermostat has just opened a little bit, but not enough, because that one of those hoses was a little bit lukewarm for me. So get on the road and, well, it's another excuse, isn't it? Shall we? Well, the answer to the question, Andrew, is absolutely fine here. We've got straight to temperature. The thermostat pretty much opened fully the minute we left off. That's why idling on the driveway isn't such a great thing, really, to get the whole thing open and get a full flow of coolant going through all parts of the cooling system. But it's another excuse to take this wonderful car out. And new spark plugs, standard air filter, yeah, it's made a little bit of a difference, and the new CVT fluid that was done just a couple of weeks ago now. It's all beneficial, and I feel the difference actually after a few drives of this myself. And that's all you need to know about how to do a coolant rail on a K series in 2 different cars. If it's an R8, take the inlet manifold off. If it's a 45, you could get away without doing that. Anyway, see ya.